Hey everybody, my name is Tim Keenan. I made a virus named Tom, and I'm here to talk. I thought with all my talks that I've been giving, I'd do something lightweight and a little bit funnier. So I thought I'd talk about anxiety and depression. Yeah. It's always the fun one. This is a light one. I guess a question, how many people in here think that in the next year or so they will suffer from depression and or like increased anxiety? Okay, we got, seems like 50-50. I'm gonna hedge my bets that it's gonna happen. As a matter of fact, I kind of think that how many people here are independent game developers? Okay, for you guys, I think it's an occupational hazard. I just think that's just kind of part of it. I think that it's something that we definitely don't talk a lot about. I mean, for people here, like how many people in the last couple months have talked with another indie developer about how to market your game? All right, you guys don't talk to each other at all, do you? All right, all this analogy isn't gonna hold up. But the idea was a lot of you were gonna talk about that stuff, and I was gonna roll through a couple more and then be like, how many talk about this stuff? And no one was gonna say that. So I'm not gonna go there, because if everybody raises their hand when I say the last one, that would just screw everything up. So I'm gonna make a really weird analogy here with bad relationships, because I've had plenty of them, so I feel like I speak from experience with that. So those of you who think that you're not going to suffer from depression or have a lot of anxiety, this is what you think your relationship is going to be. It is going to be someone that completes you because she's totally fine with you drinking way too much and all sorts of stuff like that. Where in reality, you're probably going to end up with a psychotic ex-girlfriend at some point, or boyfriend. So this is kind of, I think this is kind of how it works. I think that you sit here and you think that this is what you're going to get, and that is your expectation. And I've graphed out the reality of a relationship, right? Where like everything starts off kind of okay, and then things start going downhill, and then you're like, oh my God, this is like the worst relationship ever. And then you break up, and then all of a sudden you start hanging out with your friends again, and your life is good, and then you go on to your next bad relationship. The ideal in this situation is that when you get into another relationship, that when you start to go down that road, this alarm goes off and you're like, oh my God, this is just like my ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, and I am going to stop that here, and then I'm going to go on with my life. Hence avoiding all of this. The reality is you'll probably just do this again, like about 4 or 5 more times, and then you'll do this. But so the thought is that like, wouldn't it be cool if we could do that with anxiety and depression when we're developing our video games, right? Wouldn't it be cool if we could actually learn from previous instances of it? So I think that this curve is kind of how it happens for me, right? Like I'll be starting off and I'll be like, yeah, I'm doing independent game development. Then it's like, oh, I don't see my family. Oh, you know what, I don't have any money. Oh, you know what, nobody cares about my game. Oh, you know what, I have too much work, and then I'm not getting this done and all that stuff. And then eventually I bottom out at some point. And I like sit in the shower for like a week, and I'm all introspective, and my water bill's going up, and then all of a sudden, like I have some turnaround at some point where I'm like, oh, like it's just kind of like I'm gonna change my life, right? And I'm going to start working out again and pay attention to my loved ones and and like work 40 hours a week, and I'm making video games and they're awesome and all that stuff. And so then it just spikes up. Right? This is very Hollywood dramatic stuff. This is like how you would write a screenplay, right? And I think that doing this constantly is just, it's dramatic, and this part's really fun, but like it's pretty intrusive on your life, and it probably takes some years off of it. So I guess the real question would be, how do we get to this, right? Where all of a sudden, instead of having that monster dip, we're not having this. And I think the key to that is kind of understanding what is it that's causing this depression? What is it that's giving us all this anxiety, right? So that if we could identify it and we saw it again, then we could kind of maybe, I don't think you can avoid anxiety and depression as an independent gamer. At least I don't think I can as a developer, because it's like, Like I said, like there's all these things. I have to wear too many hats. There's a lot of pressure to me to compete with all these different people. There's all, family time, all this stuff. Like I don't have enough money. That's just it kind of goes with the territory. So I think if we can identify these things and say, hey, here's something that I noticed before that caused me to go down this downward spiral, and then I can kind of mitigate that. And I stopped making slides at this point. So I would go over all of those things and the mystery on how to unravel them and beat them next month. This is two-part. I would have made a to-be-continued slide if I had not just thought of this like 5 seconds ago. So I could type one out, but yes.
All right.
But hey, Hugh can add it in after.
Editing. He'll edit it in.
The movie magic.
Is it clap time?
Yes, it's clap
All right,
time.
clap time.